So, hello guys, and welcome to Wednesday. I hope you're having a good day. If not, hopefully I can cheer you up slightly. If I sound a bit tired, it's just... sorry, but it's because I just recorded this video actually already. Then got to the end and realised it was 40 minutes long. So, let's try and do a kind of quicker but slow deck overview of Monday's deck, which will be a reoccurring theme. Every Monday I'll be releasing a new kind of deck, and Wednesday I'll kind of do a slow kind of why I've picked some of the cards in the deck. But I have to remember to try and make it a little bit quicker than 40 minutes long. Okay, so let's start off. Obviously, big choices, Dark Magician. It's a Dark Magician deck. I only play 2 because I don't want to draw into them. If you play 3 cards in a deck, simple math says you'll draw into them more likely. You play 2 in a deck, or 1, that's because most of the time it's either limited, you only really need 1 in the deck, or because you don't want to draw into it. Which is how I make decks. If I don't want to draw into it, I usually don't play more. But then again, I do play 2, but that's just because of numbers and... So actually all that said is rubbish. Anyway, Dark Magician, obvious choice. Then we got Blackluster Soldier, again, tech card. Let's go over the tech cards instead. I'm not going to go over, they're pretty obvious why. If you don't know why they're in the deck, watch some more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, because it's pretty obvious. Blackluster, Chaos Soldier, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Mystical Space Typhoon, and I'll go over everything else in the deck, why it's in there. But those kind of cards are in a lot of decks that use light and dark cards. It's just because how good they are, and it's just they've got great effects. Look into them if you're not using them and you play light and dark decks like Chaos Dragons or Prophecies, or kind of cards similar to that, kind of with just dark light attribute. So I won't be going over those, but they're pretty obvious. Next card, Blizzard Princess. Great card, really underrated. The 2 underrated cards that aren't played in spellcaster decks that I think I'm using, 3 actually, are Blizzard Princess, Injection Fairy Lily, and Bound Wand. Now I'll quickly go over these. Blizzard Princess, you can tribute it with 1 spellcaster type monster, and when you tribute it, no spell trap cards can be activated that turn, meaning you can make a big play that turn after you've summoned it. Normal summon, should I say. Injection Fairy Lily, really underrated card that should be used in many more spellcaster decks, I think. It's got great artwork. It's a level 3, which is quite handy for Gravity Bar and stuff like that if people play them. You can pay 2,000 life points to turn it into a 3400 beta. It's just brilliant, and if you don't know about this card, you should. Next card, Bound Wand. Again, another card that isn't played, but I think's got a great effect. Equip only to a spellcast type monster as a level. It gains attack equal to its level times 100. If the equipped monster is destroyed by your opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, and sent to the graveyard, and this card is sent to the graveyard as a result, you can special summon that monster from your graveyard. Basically, it's an automatic resurrection. And you can special summon it not in defense mode. So, it can help you survive. Even if they have 2 monsters and get over a Kaiku equipped with this, it means you can special summon it in defense mode, won't take any damage. You can also bring back the big beaters and turn Dark Magician into a 3200 attack point beta. Great. Turn Dark Magician go into 2600 attack value. Great. And then automatically resurrect it. Great cards and should be played in a lot more spellcast decks, I think. If you disagree, then comment and tell me why, but I think it's a great effect. Maybe not in Prophecy decks because there's a lot of other better cards, but I think it's got a great effect. The other cards I've got are, let's go with the level 4s. I've got the Breakers, I've got the Kaikus, the Lilas, I've got the Mitchelshire Valkyria, and I've got Skilled Dark Magician. All at 2, just for space. They all work at 2. Lila and Breaker, mainly because they're great cards. They're both light and dark, and they both destroy back row. Lila's great combination of creature swap, turn in defense, get rid of a back row, and then creature swap it. Gets rid of all back row, so does Breaker nearly. Most back row they'll get rid of. And most people with Lila and Breaker, they get scared, especially if they've only got 1 back row, so they'll automatically play it on this card. And if it's a non-counter trap, that's when you whip out the Magical Dimension. Great card. I'll go over that in a bit. Kaiku, great effect. If you don't know it, read it there, I've got it up. But your opponent cannot banish cards from either player's graveyard. Now that is an effect that most people don't remember, me included, and that effect is key to beating meta decks, which is why this card is used in anti-meta decks. But it's great in this deck, especially if you turn up and you're playing this in the rated duels or unrated. Some people play meta decks in unrated. It stops them from doing a lot of plays and stops a lot of decks. A lot of cards like to banish. The two big things in Yu-Gi-Oh! These days are summoning from the deck and banishing with a lot of the big decks. And this stops one of those, which is great. Magician's Valkyria can get a lockdown if you whip out the Secret Village and the Royal Decree and this and two of these. And it's a light and it's got 800 defense. Need I say more? And look how hot she is. I do like to play the hot cards in this deck. I've got the Magician Valkyria, I've got the Lila. I've got Injection Fairy Lily, and I've got Dark Magician Girl, and I've got Blizzard Princess. I've got the girls in my deck, and they are hot. Look at Dark Magician Girl. Why do I play it? Pretty obvious why I play it. She's a level 6. Great, got Chaos Sorcerer. It means I can overlay her for Magi Magician Gal, and she's got a great effect. If you're playing against a Dark Magician deck as well, or you're playing against a Yugi deck, she gets a huge attack boost because it's from either player's graveyard. And she's just great. Look at her. Why would you not play her in it? It's an old school deck. You want to, and I'm playing the cards in this deck that I love, and that's why I'm playing it. Why I play the Effect Failers? They're a tuner, they hold a lot of decks, and they're a light. Those 3 reasons, and they're a spellcaster. Those 4 reasons, should I say, are kind of obvious why I've got her in this deck. Some people think she's a he, I think she's a she. But that's the 4 reasons. Tuner, great. She's a level 1 tuner, which also helps. It means I can make level 7s, level 5s, and level 8s quite easily if I've got her in a hand and they're in the field. I say easily, but maybe not as easy as I think. And the other cards. Creature Swap, a few plays with her. Lila in defense mode, Creature Swap. Effect Vader in attack mode, Creature Swap. They've got a huge monster out, Creature Swap. Great card, great tech choice, that's why I use it. Dark Magic Curtain, great effect, pay half your life points, special summon 1 Dark Magician from the deck. Only downside is you cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. That's because the time that this came out, that kind of made sense. Now it doesn't make as much sense because Dark Magician isn't a card used a lot, and to be honest, that effect makes this card not as good, but it's kind of a useful card, and it's a fun card to play. It gets your Dark Magician out quickly, and you want to be playing your Dark Magician. Look at it. You want to bring him out. Next card, Magical Dimension. Great card for spellcasters. Effect you should read in this, that the monster you tribute doesn't have to be a spellcaster. You have to have a spellcaster on the field, but the one you tribute doesn't have to be a spellcaster. Obviously, I don't play non-spellcaster type monsters. I do side a few, but if you creature swap, nick their card, then give them a card equipped with Bound Wand, then Magical Dimension, tribute their monster. That means you then have 2 monsters on the field, one being big, probably one of these. Destroy your own monster, then you get it back. They're -1, and then you've got 3 monsters. You've got a Lila that can then use her effect again. There are a few combos in here that are just nice to play. They're nice to get off, because you don't get them off often, I will admit, but they're fun when you do. Now, I'm playing 3 Secret Village and Spellcasters. To be honest, I'm not loving this card at the moment. It is useful, but a lot of the time I'm not keeping my spellcasters on the field. I'm struggling sometimes to keep my... I like to do big plays and get them all out at once, but once they've got rid of it, I can overextend this deck, and once you've overextended and they stop it, it's quite hard to get back. And once you've played this, it's very hard to get rid of. Because once you've played it, if you've got a smart player opposite you, and you're not drawing in spellcasters, they're going to let you have it, because you can't play spell cards. They can, you can't. So that is a bitch to deal with, and I don't know, I'm thinking of taking it down to 2 and then adding something else in. Obviously I play it in here because it's just useful to add in a bit of lockdown in this deck. It makes it a bit more powerful with the Royal Decrees, which is why they're in here, by the way. It's kind of obvious, that's how Spellcaster Lockdown works. It's good because a lot of the time this deck is about just beating the opponent down, a lot of the time. Sometimes it's not, but quite a few of the time it is, and Royal Decrees help beat down decks. The other two cards I play is Spellbook of Wisdom and Call of Haunted. Spellbook of Wisdom is really useful. It's a great card that's come out of the Prophecy archetype, but also helps all spellcaster decks. It's a Forbidden Lance that doesn't have a cost, basically. The only cost is you have to have a spellcaster, basically. That's not even a cost. So, brilliant effect, and can work well with so many cards. Dark Hole can stop traps being played. Great effect. Call of Haunted, great because it's good for bringing back the Dark Magicians, bringing back the Chaos or the Blackluster if you've already touched something correctly, even the Injection Fairy Lily. You'd be surprised that I don't often play these after I played the Royal Decree. Well, obviously I wouldn't, but I mean, I've usually played these before I draw into a Royal Decree, which is quite handy. Also, if you set a Royal Decree, activate Call of Haunted, then summon, and then activate Royal Decree, your monster stays, by the way. It's really good, and it also helps when creating Scrap Dragon, because then you've got face-ups to back row to destroy some of your opponent's cards. So that's quicker than my 40-minute video overview of the main deck. The extra 5s, I play Catasta and Hyper Librarian. Hyper Librarian, really good against synchro decks, and it's just a spellcaster. It's dark, it's 5s, easier to make because I only have one tuner in my deck, and it's level 1, so it's a 2400 attack beater that I can make quite easily in this deck. Really useful. Catasta, same reason, and it's a dark, and it's really good against non-dark decks. We've got the other cards, level 7s, Arcanite Magician. This is a fun deck, so it has funner cards in it. This can be made with the Dark Magician Girls and the Effect Veilers and the Chaos Sorcerers. Same with Black Rose Dragon, and they're just two great destruction card destroying the field to get some plays off. Level 8's got Scrap Dragon, Stardust. Again, great card. Scrap Dragon, awesome card when used with Call of Haunted properly, with over XYZs and stuff. Really good card. I play it a lot more often than Stardust. I usually play Starlight Road in nearly every deck I play, and this is one of the few decks I haven't played Starlight Road, which usually means I have to usually play 2 Stardusts in every extra deck I play, but I'm only playing 1. I think Stardust is still a useful card, just to have in your extra deck as a backup. If they're playing a lot of destruction, it's quite useful just to bring it out, just as a kind of precaution. It's pretty useful. My XYZs, I play quite a few fun XYZ cards in here just because they're a laugh. Fun ones being Alchemist Magician. It must be so much simpler to just pronounce Alchemist Magician. Gargaga Cowboy and Magi Magician Girl. These are kind of Gal, should I say, not Girl. And maybe Big Eye. These are the kind of funner cards I play in. Look them up. They've got really fun effects. It's got a fun effect. It means you can basically bring out any of the spells you want to play them straight away. I think straight away you can play them once per turn during your end phase, so no, you wouldn't be able to play it straight, but it means you can bring out some of your quick plays. Really useful to bring out. Or is it normal? Don't say it's normal. No, yeah. You can bring out one of your spell cards, set it, and then play it at the end of the turn. Really useful. Gargoyle Cowboy, I think it's a quite useful card. It's really useful if you've got the guy down to a really low amount of life points. Bring this out, can deal basically 1600 points of damage over 2 turns. First turn 800 and then second turn 800, and it's got 2400 defense. Really useful, quite easily made, and it can get over a lot of monsters with this effect. Yeah, really useful card sometimes. Djinn, shouldn't really have to go for Djinn. Zen mains and Djinn are used by most players, either one or both most of the time, because they're just good stall cards and they both have other good effects. Zen mains I personally don't think is as good as Djinn. I think Djinn's a better card, especially in this deck, and it's a dark, and it can get over the big monsters with its first effect, which a lot of people don't often play, but it's a really powerful effect if you read it there. So yeah, really good effect, and just useful to be playing. The other card, I got Magic Magician Girl, one of the few cards that has a star in her title. Really useful effect. Target one monster your opponent controls, gain control of it until the end phase, or target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field. You have to banish and detach to activate this effect, but those are two really useful effects. You can overlay, you can gain control of their monsters. They're really good effects. I count that as an underrated card for some spellcaster deck. I know I've seen Prophecy players play this card and play it quite well. But really useful cards and can get some playoff. Obviously, it kind of makes sense as well when you're overlaying 2 Dark Magician Girls to make this, because you're basically making a 3rd Dark Magician Girl. Because she is basically Dark Magician Girl, isn't she? But anyway, on to Big Eye. Gain control, can make it with the Dark Magicians, and it's a spellcaster. Don't forget that, and it's a dark. Really useful card, can gain advantage quite easily with it. And then the tech cards. These, I count, these are there's 5 tech cards really here. Shockmaster, obvious. Utopia, obvious. Roach, obvious, and Zen Maze. I may take the Zen Maze out because obviously I only play 1 level 3. It's only in there as a choice with kind of creature swap. I may take it out mainly for either Chimera Tech or Utopia Ray. Because Utopia Ray is quite handy when you're playing a Utopia in your deck. If you want to see what Utopia Ray looks like, it's that, and there, I'll bring up, that's the effect for you if you read that, and it's just a useful card. It could have been used in one of my duels in the video on Monday if you watched it. In the one I lost, I could have used a Utopia Ray. I made quite a few mistakes in that duel. I just uploaded it because I thought it was quite a good duel, even though I did make quite a few mistakes. So, but I could have used that in that duel and a few other ones, because when I make Utopia, once it's gone down to 0, you have nothing. So making a Utopia Ray with it, very handy. Okay, so that is the main deck. The side deck, I kind of just put together some fun cards. Got exchanges in here, they're a laugh to play, especially against Exodia decks. In the picture, it kind of shows you to use them against Exodia decks. I play Soul Release, a really underrated card that I always side nearly. I think I've sided in nearly all my decks. It's a really powerful card. It's better than Macro and Dimensional, especially in decks that you need the graveyard. And I think it's better than Macro and Dimensional Fissure anyway, personally, because you can just target your opponents and get rid of some really key cards. Underrated card that's always in videos where they're talking about underrated cards, it's always talked about, and I never see anyone play it. So, I don't know. Anyway, awesome card. Compulse, I love this card, that's why I've got 3 in here. Basically, I'm playing these traps here because if the opponent isn't playing a lot of back row or the lockdown isn't needed, I'll take these out, maybe some of this, and add these in. I'm going to get rid of the skill drains because I've realised that actually skill draining my deck hurts it quite a bit. I didn't think it would, and then realised it actually really does. Soul Drain doesn't hurt. Skill Drain does. I might take the Skill Drains out for some Chain Disappearances, another underrated card that not a lot of people play. I'm starting to play a bit more now, but really good against meta decks and wind-ups and stuff like that. And some really key cards and sectors it's really good against, so I might put these in for Chain Disappearance, which I'll bring up quickly. There, Chain Disappearance. When a monster with 1,000 or less attack is summoned, banish that monster, then your opponent banishes all cards with the same name as that card from their hand and deck cards. Cards is a very key thing, because there are a few double summoning low attack monster and you can get rid of all of them. Really handy effect. And then obviously I've got the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon in the side deck because I couldn't fit it in my extra deck, but I may put it in, mainly because I'm siding Cybers because they're just useful. They're a useful tech card, and so are the Maxis. I don't play Maxis often, but they are useful techs if you're playing wind-up players. Personally, I don't think Maxi is a great card, but I think it's if it's good against wind-ups. I find that one of the few decks it's good against. Wind-ups are mainly 6 Sands and X Sabers. One of the few decks, or Synchros. So there's 4 decks I might play against, but I rarely do. I prefer Effect Veiler over a hand trap card. So yeah guys, that's my Dark Magician deck. I may have rushed it a bit, that's because I just made a 40-minute video about this deck, which I may upload if you ask me to. Goes into a little bit more detail. Probably doesn't actually. I was just rambling on and on, as I am now. But yeah, this is my kind of Dark Magician old school spellcast deck because Dark Magician isn't the main focus. A Dark Magician deck should have the main focus Dark Magician, I guess. And Dark Magician isn't the main focus of the deck, so which makes this more of a kind of old school spellcaster deck. But I do like Dark Magician, and it's in here, so I'm going to call it a Dark Magician deck. There's a few changes that need to be made. If you've got any other suggestions, comment about it. And yeah, it's a fun deck. It's not overly competitive. It's about tier 3, maybe lower than that probably. But it's a fun deck to play. I've won most of my. I've played a lot of unrated duels with this. Not many rated. There'll be a few rated players. It's got a higher win ratio than loss ratio, so it's doing pretty well. It's a fun deck to play. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and cheers.